Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one. In today's video, we're going to be testing out an unexpected nuke move in the Master League, and that is Blizzard on KYUREM. Now, KYUREM is a Dragon and Ice type Pokemon, and typically runs the moveset of Dragon Breath, Glaciate, and Dragon Claw. But since I'm safe switching KYUREM on this team, I decided to switch out Dragon Claw for Blizzard at the advice of ChillisFM, and oh my goodness, we were able to land so many Blizzards. So without further ado, let's up into the matches and check out Blizzard KYUREM in action in the Master League. Hopping to the first match, picking up a terrible lead, Golden Go into Ho-Oh. I will immediately save switch into KYUREM, and my opponent responds with Lugia. Now Lugia typically wins all even shields here, so more often than not, Lugia doesn't really have anything to fear. I'm gonna tank the Sky Attack, farm up, and go for the Blizzard. Do they respect the damage? They do not! Massive damage! And KYUREM takes switch back from Lugia. Back in comes Ho-Oh to farm down. They leave with energy, but now I have switch advantage. I can align Ho-Oh onto my Dragonite, and I tank whatever they throw here. So I am going to let this through. My opponent baits with a Sacred Fire, and they do not get the attack debuff. That is quite nice. I'm going to fire off the Dragon Claw here, looking to put some pressure onto the Ho-Oh, and I'm able to grab a shield. That is quite nice. At this health range, I would be KO'd with a move, so I will commit the shield. Opponent goes for the Brave Bird. In the back, they have Dialga, and I'm going for the superpower right away. This will do a lot of damage if it lands, which it does. Opponent holding onto their shield, and now this means that I'm going to have to try and farm down with Golden Go. I will respect the potential Draco Meteor here. Opponent baits with an Iron Head. They are now going to try and make a Draco. Dialga cannot get there. In comes Ho-Oh, and this game should be over as Golden Go has 100 energy. Shadow Ball gets the shield. One more Hex, and making it to Shadow Ball number 2. Golden Go KOs Ho-Oh, and that is a good game. Picking up a decent lead in the next match, Golden Go versus Dialga. Considering I have 2 Dragon types in the back, I'm definitely happy to catch the Dialga on the lead here. And the nice thing is Golden Go, of course, does have access to Focus Blast. I'm going straight for it here, hoping the opponent decides to call a bait. Focus Blast does get shielded. That's a bit unfortunate. My opponent would be able to deal a lot of damage with a Draco, so I will commit the shield. I get Iron Head baited, and here I'm just going to settle for the Shadow Ball. This does not KO, but it will put the Dialga into a range where I can farm it with any of my other Pokemon. I continue to farm with Golden Go. They're going to be firing off a move here with Dialga. They go for the Draco Meteor, I get KO'd, and now I get some energy on KYUREM. My opponent sends in Lugia. Lugia was just in raids, so you know a lot of people are testing out their new Lugias. At this point, I have 1 win con in this match, and it's going straight for the Blizzard. We already landed 1. Can we land another? Yes, we can! And I'm able to get rid of Lugia. In the back, they have Giratina Origin, and this game is over. Opponent not anticipating that much damage from a KYUREM, and it's going to cost them here. I am able to grab the final shield with a Dragon Claw. I will commit the shield back, and from here, this is a very comfortable victory for the Dragonite, making the Dragon Claw easily enough to take care of the Giratina and secure the win. Moving into the next match, we see same leads as last game, Golden Go into another Dialga. Last time, I went straight for the Focus Blast, and my opponent shielded, so this time, I'm going to try something a bit different. If opponents are respecting the Focus Blast, then I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball bait here and grab the shield. So I fire off the Shadow Ball, opponent calls the bait. You have got to be kidding me. I'm going to respect the Draco here. Opponent is going to full send the Draco and then send in a Snarl Zacian. Now this is definitely uncomfortable as Zacian does very well versus my backline, so I almost feel like I have to stay in here with Golden Go. Golden Go farming up. As long as this isn't a wild charge, I should survive it. It is the close combat, which is resisted due to Golden Go's unique typing, and I'm going to return fire here with another Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball gets no shielded. In the back, my opponent has Lugia. We've seen Lugia before. Lugia can be a nuisance for this team unless I'm able to land the Blizzard. They fire off the Sky Attack. That's going to get me low. Opponent does a great play. They send in the Dialga to soak the damage, so I'm not able to make it to a Blizzard, and Lugia gets the farm down. Things not looking good for me here as that Lugia is still incredibly healthy, and they have a shield advantage as well. I'm going to bring in the Dragonite. They're going to be firing off a Sky Attack, and I will commit my final shield here. Farming up with the Dragonite. My switch clock is up, thankfully, so I'm going to farm up, switch, and catch a Sky Attack onto Golden Go. That is part 1. Now, I have to make it to 3 Dragon Claws, and I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I'm firing off Dragon Claw number 1 here. That does get the shield. Going for Dragon Claw number 2, and this is going to be close. Can I get to a Dragon Claw in 9 Dragon Breaths? Dragonite farming up, winning CMP over Lugia. Oh my goodness, we got the Dragon Claw, it KOs, and that is a good game. Picking up a pretty nice lead in the next match, Golden Go versus Mamoswine. Now, considering I have 2 dragons in the back, definitely happy to catch the Mamoswine on the lead. I'm looking to massively overfarm with Golden Go, and I will respect the high horsepower. Opponent baits with an Avalanche, and I'm going to return fire with a Shadow Ball. Now, Shadow Ball is only neutral compared to Focus Blast, but Mamoswine is glassy enough that I can just go straight Shadow Ball here and be pretty comfortable. My opponent does have enough for another high horsepower, and this time they do go for it. That is a big shield. I'm now going to farm all the way up to max energy and fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball should be lethal from this range. Opponent commits the shield, but they get outpaced. Golden Go, Shadow Ball, KOs the Mamoswine as I'm able to win lead in a convincing manner. In comes a Dragonite. This is actually a Dragon Tail Dragonite. I definitely would not recommend Dragon Tail on Dragonite. Dragon Breath just allows you a lot more precision when it comes to timing your charge moves. They go for the Dragon Claw. That's not going to KO. I fire off the Shadow Ball. I'm going to send in KYUREM, and in the back, they have Xerneas. This would be a great time for Blizzard, but unfortunately, in the Zero Shield, they would make a close combat before I make the Blizzard. So I'm forced to settle for a Glaciate there. Glaciate does get some chip damage, and of course does get that ever-important attack drop. They go for the Moonblast. That's going to be bye-bye KYUREM, and now it's all up to Golden Go. Can it withstand the tackles? Yes, it can! Golden Go withstands the tackles. Shadow Ball KOs the Xerneas, and that will be game over as my Dragonite farms down theirs. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Golden Go into Togekiss. Definitely happy to catch the Charmer on the lead. Opponent is going to switch into a Melmetal, and this is a bit uncomfortable here, as my opponent has 2 very strong answers to KYUREM. I'm going to stay in with Golden Go for now, because Golden Go does very well against Melmetal. I'm going to farm up past the Focus Blast and bait. They're pretty weak to Golden Go, so I'm hoping they shield, but my opponent calls the bait, and now things are honestly starting to get a bit tricky. Our switch timers are very misaligned. I fire off the Shadow Ball, and now I'm just going to send in Dragonite. At this point, I'm recognizing I'm probably going to be losing switch, so I'm basically just going to be throwing away the Dragonite and hoping that with energy on KYUREM, I can either Glaciate or Blizzard the Togekiss. They are going to be able to farm me down. I'm now going to send in KYUREM, shield once, look to fully farm down, and then hopefully be able to Glaciate that Togekiss. Opponent, their clock is up. They're going to send in Togekiss, and I'm firing off the Glaciate here. Glaciate will hit for some nice super effective damage, and on top of that, get that attack debuff. I continue to farm. Opponent is going to fire off the Ancient Power here. This is uncomfortable. That will force the final shield. I bank a Glaciate, send in Golden Go, and I'm looking for the Hex farm down, but Hex does not do a lot of damage. Togekiss able to hang on and unfortunately make it to the Ancient Power. Ancient Power is now going to put me in a precariously low health situation. In the back, they have Giratina. Maybe this is possible. Shadow Ball gets the shield. Opponent sends in Melmetal, and I am zero bubbling this. I need farm on KYUREM, but it still KOs, and now I need to make it to a Blizzard. KYUREM farming up to the Blizzard, and we get outpaced. Giratina only had to make it to the Ominous Wind. Ominous Wind KOs the KYUREM, and they get the boost as the game ends. Hopping into the next match, picking up a great lead, Golden Go into Lugia, and the Lugia is staying in. This means somewhere in the back, they must be weak to Golden Go as well, because they are staying in a matchup that is by no means good for them. I'm going for the Shadow Ball right off the bat, and I grab an early shield from my opponent. Aeroblast is resisted, but I will commit the shield just to preserve some health. My opponent goes for the Aeroblast, but then they get the boost, and that is a bit scary. I'm going to be firing off the Shadow Ball here. Shadow Ball is going to get the Lugia low. Lugia will make it to a boosted Sky Attack, and this is definitely going to hurt. Because of the boost, that does get Golden go low. I send in KYUREM, and I'm able to farm down. My opponent is now going to send in Zacian. Zacian looking to overfarm a ton of energy, and I make it to the Blizzard. Let's see. Do they respect it? They do not, and Zacian is nearly KO'd by a dragon. They go for the close combat there. I send in Dragonite, and in the back, they have Groudon. And bad news for the opponent, there's just not really anything they can do at this point, because Groudon is absolutely walled by Dragonite. Groudon goes for the Precipice Blades. I'm going to be returning fire here with the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw gets the shield. I still have energy on Golden Go as well, so if I want to, I can utilize that later on. Dragon Claw is going to get them low. I farm up, go for the catch, onto Golden Go. Opponent holds onto the energy, but now I can just Shadow Ball, KO the Groudon. They are not going to be able to quick attack down, so they're forced to go for a move. They go for the Wild Charge, that KOs, but one Dragon Breath from Dragonite secures the game. Picking up a pretty nice lead in the next match, Golden Go versus Zacian, and it is going to be a quick attack Zacian, which is incredibly good news for Golden Go. Here, I tried to throw on CMP. I was expecting them to throw when they reached the back-to-back, but they end up going for the extra. They wisely let the first one through, recognizing that they can tank and move a lot easier before they debuff their defense with a Wild Charge. They're going to be going for the back-to-back Wild Charges here. I will commit the shield, and then I'm going to try and look for a Hex farm down, but I don't think I'm quite going to get it, so instead, I'm just going to fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to KO. My opponent takes the shield advantage, and now they send in Dialga. This is not what I was hoping to see whatsoever. I'm going to build up to the Focus Blast, bait with a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball gets the shield. Golden Go cannot make another Shadow Ball, and Dialga up energy is so scary. I'm just going to send in Dragonite and basically just hope that they bait here. So I'm just going to let this go. My opponent baits with an Iron Head. That is big. My opponent in the back, they have Lugia. And again, it looks like I'm going to need to try and land a Blizzard to have a chance to win this game. I will shield up the Sky Attack. KYUREM farming up to the Blizzard, and I'm going straight for it. Moment of truth. Do they shield it? They do not! Back in comes Dialga, but Dialga is able to get the farm down, and unfortunately, I cannot make two moves. Hopping into the final match, picking up a great lead, Golden Go versus another Togekiss. My opponent is going to safe switch into a Dragon Tail Garchomp, and this is honestly a core breaker for this team, as unfortunately, Dragon Tail Garchomp can hit the entire team for super effective. I'm going to stay in here with Golden Go, fire off the Shadow Ball, and make a catch onto Dragonite. Dragonite ends up catching the Sand Tomb, and that works out quite nicely. Dragonite looking for the farm down, not quite able to get there. I'm going to let this go as well, and this is actually a double ground charge move Garchomp. Our switch clocks are misaligned, which is unfortunate, but my opponent ends up doing me a favor here. They end up waiting their clock, and now I can get these clocks closer to back in sync. I'm going to fire off the superpower here. Either move is double resisted. I'm going to fully wait my clock and send back in Golden Go. In comes Golden Go. They have a Giratina altered in the back, and unfortunately, I am going to have to go straight Glaciate in this matchup to win it. So, unfortunately, no Blizzard shenanigans to end out, but the good news is this is looking like a win. I fire off the Glaciate, opponent is going to let that through, and of course, the wonderful thing about Glaciate is that guaranteed attack drop. I do have to kill in 10 Dragon Breaths here. KYUREM gets the farm down, and that is absolutely game over. I fire off the Glaciate here. Glaciate is going to get a shield from my opponent, and that will, of course, lower their attack. And now I can send in Golden Go. Golden Go already had some energy from earlier. I can launch the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball gets the shield. Opponent is going to return fire. All I have to do is just protect against the Flamethrower. They do full send a Flamethrower, and the opponent concedes the match. All in all, I had an absolute blast running Blizzard on KYUREM. Now, KYUREM Glaciate is, of course, a must-have move. The ability to lower the opponent's attack allows KYUREM to do very well in type-neutral matchups, especially in the 1-shield and the 2-shield. So running a double ice moveset at first may not seem the most practical, but Blizzard ended up being really, really helpful. It caught a lot of opponents off guard, and two of the common things that opponents switch into a KYUREM safe switch, whether that's a Dialga or a Zacian, both of them take heavy neutral damage from Blizzard, and on top of of that, if the opponent sends in the Lugia, well, we already saw what happens there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.